Hello, my name is John Himmelman, and I write and illustrate children's books. And today I'm going to read you one of them, and it's going to be about a spotted salamander. And the book is A Salamander's Life. I was first introduced to spotted salamanders, which are all over New England, by a good friend of mine, Kay Kudlinski. And Kay also writes children's books. She writes for older children. Here's a book that she did on Pocahontas. Well, she had written an article about going out at night and finding spotted salamanders as they cross the street. What happens is they leave in early spring, sometimes late winter. They come out from under the leaves and they migrate over to pools of water where they find other salamanders and they lay eggs and then they go back into the woods again. Well, Kate told me about this spot that she knew in Guilford, Connecticut, where you can go and you can actually watch them as they cross the road. So I went out with her and her husband Hank, and my wife was there, and it was amazing. Hundreds of salamanders were just coming out, these big, beautiful animals that had been asleep all winter, and they were traveling across the road, and they go into the nearby pond on the other side of the road, and we would pick them up and carry them over and help them out because there are cars and roads, and we didn't want them to get run over. So I fell in love with these animals, and I wanted to write a story about their life cycle. So this story is called A Salamander's Life by John Himmelman. And I will skip this information part, and what I'll do is I'll put this up at the end as a still frame. This is from my friends Bill and Cindy Kobach, who spent a lot of nights out looking for frogs and salamanders with me. They're very good naturalist friends of mine. So let's get started. In spring, a salamander lays her eggs in a pond. And you can see that this big mass of eggs that's kind of see-through, and there's the salamander swimming away after laying her eggs. A red-spotted newt watches the first larva break free. The salamander larva catches and eats a copepod. So red-spotted newts are a kind of salamander. They actually eat the eggs of the spotted salamander. And larvae are kind of like tadpoles. It's what you call a young salamander that doesn't have its legs yet. It's more like a fish than it is a crawling animal. And copepods are little teeny tiny things that they eat. Uh-oh. A giant water bug would like to eat the salamander larva, but misses. Good thing. Soon the salamander grows hind legs. So that's we call these eastern toe biters too. They love to eat young salamanders. And here's the salamander larva hunting in the pond, and there's some snails in there. The salamander must swim to the surface for air. At the end of summer, the young salamander leaves her pond. So you see now the salamander is going from a creature that breathes through gills underwater to a creature that actually breathes air like we do out on the surface. And you can see the little ladybug in there. She hunts for insects at the edge of the pond. As the salamander grows, she moves farther into the woods. You can see her eating a worm. And what else do you see in there? I see a centipede, some sow bugs, and in the other picture, that's a whippoorwill in the background. And a rosy maple moth. I love moths, so I try to slip moths in all of my pictures, or as many as I can get away with. A milk snake grabs the salamander. And then let's go. Salamanders have bad tasting skin, and it's kind of slimy and sticky, and I know that because I picked them up before, and you got to wash your hands after. So that protects the salamander from being eaten by other animals. The salamander catches an earwig under the leaves. As it grows cold, the salamander looks for a burrow. A deer mouse watches. So there it is, munching away on an earwig. Yum, yum. And now it's getting ready to go underground. The salamander sleeps through the cold winter. A rainy spring evening wakes the salamander. Here it is snoring away. And now it's about March or April when they start coming out again. It wakes thousands of salamanders. It wakes frogs too. So they all come out for the big party. And we have some spring peepers in this picture and wood frogs. And it looks like there's a little roly-poly up there on the stick. A bright light falls on the salamander. Gentle, curious hands lift her. See, that could have been me and my kids when we go out to find them. They don't know what these lights are. And there's someone picking it up. Then they put her back down. The frogs and salamanders return to the pond. So I thought it'd be fun to have a child in there rescuing the salamander like I do. And here's the three. So that's a spring peeper on the top, a salamander entering the water, and there's a wood frog already sitting in the water, kind of looking at us. The salamander swims through the water looking for a male. At last she finds a mate. A little beetle in there. I think that's either a back swimmer or a water boatman. I don't remember. Now the salamander lays eggs of her own. She begins the journey back to the woods. So there she is back in the pond. She lays her eggs and then she leaves the water. And it's time to go live amongst the leaves. Summer night after summer night, the salamander hunts. Winter cold after winter cold, the salamander sleeps. She's about to eat that caterpillar. And there she is, curled up, ready for bed. And every first warm, rainy evening of spring, she wakes up again. And there she is. Time for new adventures. So that is the life cycle of our spotted salamander. And if you go out on a rainy night when it's above 40 degrees, and that's right now I think we're the last day of March, you could still go out and see them. A lot of them have already left their ponds and their woods, and they're in the ponds. But still, there's a bunch left to go. So next time it's raining, grab your flashlight and go and find a place where there's little pools of water, like they're called vernal pools, and see what you can find. Okay, take care.